Hello everyone, Alpha Heavy Gamer here. Glad you could join me. I know I've been gone a little bit. I've been moving into my new house. I got everything set up and now I'm good to go. So the video, let's get to that. By now most people have gotten the F-14. I can tell because the matchmaker is starting to return to normal. I'm getting matches now where the US isn't facing itself. Having said that, we're probably only a few months away from the next 4th generation jet, and it's going to trickle in, that's how they're going to be. My money is that it's going to be the Mig-29. The F-14 was a success, sort of, more on that later. But what I'm getting tired of is the massive amount of disruptions to the game every time Gaijin introduces one of something without a true counter. Implementation of new aircraft could use some improvement. Maybe Gaijin will listen and maybe they won't. But here are 4 things that they could do to smooth the implementation of the Mig-29. Thing number 1 is better implementation overall. The matchmaker gets screwy, BR ceilings, we have issues with that, and Gaijin's piecemeal approach. So that's the main, the macro view. Some sub bullets to this is jets facing themselves isn't fun. The whole point of this is to put your machine up against something dissimilar and then go after it. Another issue is the compression of the tiers. We really do need a higher BR ceiling. 11.3 isn't really where the F-14 should be. If we're saying that, the F-14 is better than the F-4J in every way, yet both are at 11.3. Something's a little wrong with that. And again, like I said, the piecemeal approach to adding content is not satisfying. Really you should get a counter. It shouldn't just counter itself, but a really true counter. I think it would be more fun in the implementation category. Now, the last thing I'll say about this before I move on to thing number 2 is that I know the only 4th gen jet in the game right now is the F-14 from Gaijin's perspective, and that there isn't a sufficient pool with which to build upon to make a higher BR ceiling. So they kind of got to get some critical mass going before they could give us, say, a 11.7 or a 12.0 BR. So I know that. It is what it is, but I still think they could do better. So thing number 2, Gaijin needs to stop nerfing main features, that they're marketing in the hype for the new plane. The AIM-54A Phoenix, for example, it got nerfed right off the bat pretty hard. Really took a beating. My PK, probability of kill with the Phoenix, is at about 20%. Now, this is anecdotal right here. There were multiple aces, multiple Iranian Air Force aces in the Iran-Iraq War, F-14 aces using the Phoenix. So anecdotally, the missile can't be this bad. Right now, I'm down to taking maybe 1 or 2 Phoenix missiles because they're just that bad. Historical or for balance, I think this is really a balance change. And maybe they ought to roll that back once more vehicles in the 4th gen category are in the game. So let's talk about the Mig-29 a little bit, because I think it could be vulnerable to the nerf bat when it comes into the game. So if it was me, I would market the Mig-29 with the helmet-mounted sight, the R-73 Archer missile, which gives it that high off-bore sight capability. So in a dogfight, the Mig-29 is extremely dangerous because the R-73 Archer and its ability to get a missile off at high off-bore sight angles. So is that going to be subject to a nerf as well when it gets into the game because it's just too strong? I think this kind of strategy demotivates players. Like, for example, it took me a while to grind to the F-14 because I'm not a part of the warthunder partnership program. So, by the time I got to it, the Phoenix had already been nerfed. So, contrast that with seeing early on how good the Phoenix was, and then you finally grind for 100 hours or something, and then you get it, and now it's not that good anymore. So it's very demotivating. All right, so thing number 3 is Gaijin really needs to get the tech up. Where are the realistic radar warning receivers that show radar type, by nation as well? Where are the jamming, the self-protection jammers, the jamming pods, where's the ECM? You know, to differentiate the planes and make them actually worth grinding for, I'm looking for like the integrated radar warning with geolocation and self-protection, and the radars with the ground mapping mode. So, you know, new mechanics are needed to make these 4th gen fighters, especially if they're going to be a 12.0 BR or higher, you know, to make them actually worth grinding for and different than what's already here. Alright, thing number 4 that Gaijin needs to do for a smooth implementation of the Mig-29 is new modes. The realistic battle grand melee is not going to cut it. I think aircraft potential is being wasted on this static single old mode. I know we have the ARB EC maps, and that's been a pretty good development, but Gaijin's kind of failed to capitalize on it, and they haven't made any further improvements or updates to it. For example, the F-14A can't really use all of its advanced features and advantages on these small ARB maps. I mean, on the EC maps it's pretty cool, but you hardly get any of those. I get maybe like 1 in 10 I'll see an ARB EC map. I feel that many new jets coming in are going to get shortchanged because of the rush into a furball type of format that ARB currently is. I mean, I know a lot of people like it, but you know, frankly, it's getting a little boring to me. I have some ideas on modes and maps, and even some era-specific ideas, you know, but I don't know. Gaijin probably wouldn't want to hear any of those. I think a Cold War era map would be nice with the introduction of the Mig-29, though. After all, it's a beautiful machine, just like the F-14, but the potential around both of these jets has been ignored, in my opinion. Alright, so overall, I just wanted to make this video to get my thoughts out on how the introduction of the first 4th gen jet in the game went. In my view, they took the F-14 and forced it into the 11.3 BR slot by gimping the AUG-9 radar and nerfing its main weapon, the AIM-54A Phoenix. I know it was a little OP at this point in time, especially in the beginning, but eventually this needs to get rolled back. This trend of nerfing the main weapon systems, or the main selling point that they hyped, that trend is disturbing to me. And this is why, because it means that subsequent 4th generation jets may face the same nerf bat for balance, at least until enough of them are in the game, you know, to give them the critical mass they need to establish a new BR ceiling. The problem is, I don't know what that number is. Alright guys, that's the video for today. Let me know what you think about all this. I think that the Mig-29 is going to be next. I mean, Gaijin doesn't tell me anything. It's just a guess. I could be wrong. But what do you think about how they implement jets? You think I'm off, or do you kind of agree? If you liked the video, just go and hit the like button. I really appreciate that. And of course, you know, always leave a comment. I love to reply to those. And I'll see you all in a future video. Thanks.